Hello, class. Last time we talked about matter and the physical and chemical changes that matter can undergo. Today we're going to look at some of the energy aspect of these physical and chemical changes. So the first sort of big idea is that any of these physical and chemical changes also involve changes in energy. Now, in this particular course, we're going to look at energy in sort of a specific way, and we're going to look at specific types of energy. Right? And so, for a basic definition, energy is just the capacity to do work. Right? That's all we mean when we talk about energy. Now, what are some of the types of energy? Well, two big types, right? Kinetic, right? So kinetic is simply energy of motion, right? So the different types of kinetic energy always involve some type of movement. The most important for us, right, is thermal kinetic energy, which is measured by looking at the temperature. So when we take the temperature, what we're really looking at is the kinetic energy, right? We're getting a measure of the kinetic energy. And this kinetic energy comes from the motion of the atoms or molecules in our sample. So that thermokinetic energy is coming from the motion of the atoms and molecules that make up our sample. Now, potential energy, right? This is energy associated with position. Oops, let's use a different color here. With position or composition. Now, the two most important types, right, are gravitational, right, which is a position, is a potential energy of position, and chemical, which is the one that we will most often be worried about, right? And this is the potential energy that's associated with the composition of our sample, right? The atoms and molecules, what's their composition? What elements are there? How are they bonded? Et cetera, right? And so we have chemical potential energy as the type that we'll be looking at a lot. So what are some other key ideas that we talk about with energy? Well, one is, first of all, the law of the conservation of energy. So all this essentially says is that energy is conserved. During a change. So whether this be a physical change or a chemical change, we have energy is conserved. It cannot be created or destroyed. It can change form or location. So it can change from one type of energy to another. So kinetic energy can be converted to potential energy or vice versa. Or it can move from one location to another, right? We can have energy movement, but we can't create or destroy energy. Another key idea here is that systems at high potential energy, or systems that tend to have high potential energy will tend to change in ways that lower the potential energy. So the big idea is that systems will tend to undergo changes, whether they be physical or more likely chemical changes, that will lower the potential energy. And when it does this, right, we will release energy into the surroundings, right? So again, we don't destroy that energy, but we lower the potential energy within the system by releasing some of that energy through a physical or chemical change. So we'll see those ideas as we sort of move through other aspects of the course.